All right, cool, excellent. All right, guys, so this is a bit of a fun project, and it's called Number Always Bigger. It had its genesis in December during a hackathon. And since then, it's gotten quite a bit of traction, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But then the reason it has this traction is because it has a really unusual premise, which is, Mark mentioned that Bitcoin had gone down, but its claim is that its number always goes up. So from the outset, that is a really unusual claim. But maybe by the end of this, it might move from being unusual to being interesting. So back to Bitcoin. Let's say you woke up this morning and you found out that Bitcoin supply had gone down by 10%. The question is, what would you do? So a good number of us would kind of look at our phone and say, wow, Bitcoin supply has gone down by 10%, and kind of roll back into the covers and go back to bed. But then there's a small group of people here who would realize, well, the supply is constant, but then the demand has gone down. So there's bound to be a lag between the demand dropping and the prices adjusting. And so what they do, they would pick up some Bitcoin and hopefully profit from that time-based arbitrage. And we kind of see this everywhere. We saw this during COVID when populations in different cities changed, and you could see the values of the rents go up and down, but this was not instantaneous. Take Melbourne for an example. During COVID, a lot of people left Melbourne, but it did take a while for the prices of housing to adjust to that. So that is the whole premise of Number Always Bigger. So what it is, it's a very simple contract that monitors the price, and what it does is it keeps a record of its most recent and highest low. And what happens when the price drops is it reduces the supply globally. And just like with Bitcoin, there are what you call fast actors and slow actors. And what happens is that the slow actors just hold onto their wallets and life goes on as usual. The faster actors have an opportunity to make a bit of profit, and also that brings the price back up. Now, the interesting thing is that this has a premise in that there are projects like Ampleforth that, anyone here heard of Ampleforth? Exactly. So what Ampleforth does is it maintains, it's a token that maintains parity with the inflation-adjusted value of the dollar. So for the last 2 or 3 years, using a simple mechanism just like this one, has maintained price of about $1.20, which is the inflation-adjusted value of the dollar. So NAB works in a very similar way. So what happens, what we're trying to do here is create a token that has the properties of a stable token, but at the same time does allow the value to appreciate while reducing the volatility. So what we expect would happen is that over time, the price is allowed to go up, but at the same time, it does reach an equilibrium, which is held until, let's say, the market cap goes up, and then the price is allowed to go up again slowly. So one way to think about it is that you've got fiat, and then you've got, which are inflationary and flat tokens, like Ampleforth, which hold the price of an arbitrary value, let's say the dollar. But what we have created here is a floor-adaptive, elastically stable token, a fast token. One of the other things we have into this is that this token, the only way to create it is by minting it, by depositing yield-generating assets into it. So let's things like LP, or let's say staked Ethereum, which is a yield into it. And that is the only way to mint it. And so as you mint it, what happens is that it collects this yield, and this yield is also used to create and increase liquidity in the system in itself. And what it does is it buys back and burns any NAV that is in the system. And this also ties into the cost of production theory of Bitcoin, in that it costs, there's, how to say, in the same way that there's, that Bitcoin has a cost of production, miners are unwilling to sell their token below a certain price, wherever it costs to manufacture the Bitcoin. In a similar way, minters of this token are willing to sell it for less than the price of the opportunity cost of the yield they've otherwise given up to mint this token. And it's also got an interesting fee system that increase adoption. We've already got a whole bunch of partners in there. And it also has a supply curve that is similar to Bitcoin in that only a little bit of it is minted on a daily curve, in a declining curve, just like Bitcoin. So we've only been around since December, and we've got a whole bunch of integrations and people who want to work with us. There's Arc.io on the left, which is a really cool gaming platform. It's got RPGs, gambling games, all kinds of different games on the blockchain. They've integrated our token with us. We've also partnered with Astro USD. It's a stable coin as well. We're creating really interesting integrations with them. Decentramind is a little bit like Galaxy Quest, so it's a great marketing tool as well. It's integrated our token as well. This is only in 2 months. And there's a really great group that we can't mention yet, but they deal with homomorphic encryption. So if you've used Monero, it's a similar technology to that. So a lot of really cool integrations. And I think I just turned off here. And we've also launched another token as well. I guess we don't have time to talk about it right now, but it's linked to NAB, and what it does is by acquiring this token, you're able to stake it into NAB's contract and lock it forever and essentially earn NAB for a lifetime. And that's getting really good traction as well. So in terms of traction, since launching in December, we've already got 400 stakers, a tiny market cap, and a small growing supply. There's 15 different token yield generation token pairs that have already been staked. Some of them are LP tokens, others are just native tokens. And of course, the price of the entire crypto market has dropped a little bit. But then I think we've already got something like $100,000 to $200,000 locked in the contract already. So heaps of traction, really short time, and it's just a fun token. So like any currency, it's based on adoption and trust, and there's always risks in crypto. But then it's the first of its kind of flow adaptive stable token. And going back to Bitcoin, so initially the idea of a token that goes up and up and up seems really unusual. But then when you look at Bitcoin and you zoom into a single day, you can see it's extremely volatile. But the more and more you zoom out, you actually see it's like a steady rising curve. So the whole point in doing what we're doing is we're just trying to reduce the delta between your dips and also the size of the dips by creating all these, let's say, incentive mechanisms to create a more stable token that is slowly allowed to rise based on the demand of the market. And yeah, that's number all is bigger, and you can learn more about it at nabtoken.xyz. Thank you.
Fantastic. I'm sorry, we have no time for questions. We're going to have to get on to the next ones. Thank you. Grab your mic up there. Thank you, thank you. All right, just put that one down. Fantastic stuff. It's still on screen there, folks, so make sure you check that one out. We'll be back on. Will was on a Twitter space with us, so we'll do more of that as well and talk more about the progress of the project. It's only been around for a few months, but there's already tens of thousands of followers, so get on it. Not financial advice.